Welcome back to The Person Everyone Needs. I'm your host, Webb Hoggard. Today I want to talk to you on a subject that is kind of a big deal these days. You can have it in different words. Some people say influencers. Some people call it mentors. People want leaders in their life. They're always looking for a coach of some sort. Coach is a buzzword right now. Some people are getting counselors, or they call it therapy. They need a therapist, that kind of thing. The Bible calls this person, disciple, person who needs help. They need someone to kind of guide them. Jesus has been encouraging us to find people in our lives to disciple. That was kind of his model because, first of all, he knows exactly what people need. The very first thing he noticed about humanity was that it was not good for man to be alone. And the more technologically connected we become in this world, the more alone most people feel. They don't ever get vulnerable enough with other people to try to figure out what it is that they need to grow on and fix in their life. If anybody ever corrects them, that nasty feeling they feel that they've been judged somehow, they immediately want to shut down the relationship and move on. And yet that's the only way to get better. In this life, there's really only two things in your life that are ever going to help you get better. First is an education. That's why it matters. I am not anti-education. I'm not anti-intellect. I'm not anti-knowledge. But we do live in a day where you can basically learn anything without even having to go. It used to be that all knowledge was basically stored at colleges. It's not that way anymore. You can learn just about anything you want. Education is very helpful. Knowledge is very, very helpful, but knowledge will just puff up. In fact, one of the things I'm kind of coming to realize right now is that knowledge, for the most part, it does not increase confidence. It usually increases fear. The more information you have with a lack of experience actually heightens the feeling of possible defect or possible, failure. So knowledge is not going to get you the whole way. And there's some people out there that would say the opposite is more important, that the experience alone is the most important thing. And so there are people who, often they don't go to college or they didn't go to college, and they'll say, I don't care how much you've learned or what papers you've got. All I care is about, what you've actually done in the industry or done in the job. Well, the problem with experience with not much education is that you only know what you've experienced. You haven't learned what anybody else has, or like where the professionals or the people who've done it right. You've not gotten a wider view than your own, and your experience is not very exhaustive. And so experience and education are helpful, but if you're going to really push forward in any direction, the thing that you kind of need bridging the gap between new information, you could read books, listen to a podcast, go to a class, go to college or whatever, but that education needs to be coupled with experiences that will help you gain personal context, or the Bible word for this is understanding, wisdom, to get wisdom with what you've got. Those two things brought together by having a person who is a mentor, who knows who you are and will take the necessary confrontations to help you become a better person, a better thing than what you are now. So the three elements of true growth in this life to be a real disciple in this world is new information, a new experience held together by regular connection with a mentor. Now, what do you need to be a mentor? What do you need to have a mentor in your life? Good mentors, they have two things. Number one, they have wisdom, which means that they most likely have experiences that you don't have. Usually a good mentor is someone who is beyond you, perhaps somebody who's beyond you in parenting, beyond you in your career, beyond you in your spiritual walk, or in your professional understanding of some area. So you want to pick somebody who's got some wisdom, some experiences that you don't have. But the most important thing, and this is the second one that I'm going to tell you, the most important thing that you need in a mentor is somebody who loves you, someone who cares about you, would do just about anything possible to see you succeed. That's really what it is that you need. And so I want to give you 4 traits today that would help you maybe choose a mentor, but the real thing I'm wanting from you today is not that you will go and find a mentor, but that you will decide to be a mentor. And before I get to my list of 4, I know you want to change the world. I know you want to see the world different, and you want to see great things happen, and you want to be a blessing. I know all those things are inside of you. You were made by God to make a difference, and I can absolutely understand. But I'm going to tell you right now, the key to making a difference is deciding to make a small difference. Stop trying to figure out how to change the world and change someone's world. So do you know somebody right now that could use a friend? Do you know somebody right now that could use a conversation? Do you know one person perhaps, maybe 1, 2, or 3 people that could really use your connection? Is there some experiences that you have that might help someone younger or in an earlier stage of what you've already gotten to? If you can find and identify that person and you think they might be humble enough to sit down with you and be helped, the 2 things you need to have is, first of all, experiences, wisdom, and then the second thing is to love that person. So here's the 4 qualities. Number 1, if you want to be a good mentor, if you want to be a good disciple maker, if you want to be a good influencer, a good leader, the first thing is you need to know yourself. And then you need to learn how to see others. Okay, so know yourself. There's nothing worse than a leader who is not self-aware. Oh my goodness. Leaders who do not understand where their weaknesses are, they don't understand where they're harming other people. Know yourself. Take the time to do some of those quizzes or something like that to figure out about your personality. What things bring you to life? What are the things that demotivate you? You need to be able to take the time and say to yourself and perhaps have some other people speak into your life, but know yourself, know your weaknesses, know your strengths, lean into your strengths. Don't worry about fixing your weaknesses as much as, leaning into the strengths that you have. But the first thing you need to know is know yourself. And then the second thing is you need to be able to see others, to see the potential that they have, to see where they're at, to see the things that you could encourage them with, move them toward onto the agenda that God has for them. So that's number 1. Know yourself and see others. Know yourself and see others. Know what you have to offer and be able to recognize what others need. The second thing I would say to you if you want to be a good mentor is you need to get out of the center of the room, but also get off of the wall. What I mean is get in the circle and contribute. Stop being the center of attention, because here's the thing. If you have to be the center of attention, that means that you're not happy unless you're the bride or you're the corpse at the funeral. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to be the center of attention no matter what. You don't care what it means. And that is very destructive when it comes to wanting to make a difference, because it can't be about you. The story of Star Wars was not about Yoda. Yoda is the one who helps. It's not about Obi-Wan Kenobi, even though he's probably my favorite character. The story of Star Wars is about Luke, this insecure, unencouraged, unmotivated young man. There seems to be some value placed on him, and all of a sudden training takes place, and he becomes this incredible warrior. So you got to get out of the center of the room. But also, don't take that to the extreme and be one of those people that sit outside the circle against the wall. I just don't want to be a part. I don't want to be in the middle of anything. No. Be a part. Contribute. Find a way to contribute wherever it is that you are. At your job, you don't have to be the center of attention, but you also don't have to be the person who never shows up to the social gatherings. Like, be a part of what's going on. Come to your boss and say, what's going on in your life? How can I help you? Is there any way I can help you outside of the job? Do what you can to be involved in people's lives. If you want to see a difference made, you're going to have to get out of the center. It's not about you, but you can't get up against the wall and stay on the outside of the circle. Be in the middle of what's taking place. And that's what good mentors do. The first thing they do is they know themselves and start seeing others. The second thing they do is they get out of the center of the room, but they never go to the wall. They stay contributing to the circle of what's happening. The third thing is they see everyone as a 10. Look, I understand, cognitively, not everybody is a 10. That's fine. But perspective is powerful. If you start judging people and start calling them 3s or 6s in your head, then you're not going to see them as worthy or valuable enough for your input. What if you were to start walking up to every single person and being like, this person is a 10. What's keeping them from getting there? I wonder how I could help them get there. Value every person. Love every person. I'm not saying that you have to give your whole life for every person, but if you would start treating other people as 10s, you might be seeing a greater impact of your life, because what people are looking for is people who will value them. So your greatest asset, your greatest blessing to someone is seeing everyone as a 10. It's a perspective that I have. I don't meet anyone that I think to myself, wow, this is a waste of a human. There are no wastes of humans. Every single person has something to offer, something to contribute, and they're all major blessings. So every person you meet, see them as a 10. Last thing is, time is what it takes to make a difference. You are not going to make a major difference in a short amount of time. A difference is made over time. And so I used to tell my church all the time, we want to move from just making it to making a difference. And how do you do that? It's by showing up more than one time. You want to make a difference in somebody's life, don't just show up one time and be like, wow, they didn't appreciate that. Show up multiple times. Keep giving toward that person that you want to make a difference in over and over again. So I want to tell you the four things. The first thing I said to you was know yourself and be able to start seeing others. I said get out of the center of the room, but also don't sit on the wall. The third thing was see everyone as a 10. And number 4 was time is what is going to make the difference. And I open all this thing to say that real mentors, the people who really make a change, the real influencers, are people that have some experience or wisdom and complete love. When you see somebody as a 10, you show that you love them, that you value them, that you treasure them. And that's what most of us need. A mentor, a true mentor, is not someone who just has information. It's someone who's able to transform someone because they care. So I know this to be the case. I know everybody needs a mentor. Everyone needs an influence in their life to be encouragement. So really, a mentor is a person that everyone needs.